is Trump setting the stage to use executive orders to unleash a level of presidential power that we haven't seen in almost 100 years. In a normal, boring democracy, Congress takes forever to get anything done, but President Trump has a powerful shortcut to get what he wants. It's called an executive order. Instead of waiting on Congress to see if they can agree if a hot dog is a sandwich, Trump uses an executive order to make it, boom, an instant rule. Throughout history, executive orders have been used to do many tremendous, incredible, bigly things. Lincoln used an executive order to free the slaves. Nice. FDR used an executive order to build internment camps. Oy. Trump's executive orders are a lot like the Hulk, incredibly powerful. But, like the Hulk, they can easily be bamboozled by guys in weird outfits. Judges love to flex their power by dunking on executive orders, by ruling them unconstitutional or unlawful. For example, Trump could sign a law to make this dummy thick meme illegal. No! But within 48 hours, a federal district court judge would docket block it because it's political satire, so it's protected by the First Amendment. Yay! However, the even more powerful Court of Appeals judge can overturn the district court. No, they took my thick memes! But look who's coming! It's the Supreme Court with a steel chair! When it comes to the law, the final boss that's almost impossible to defeat is the Supreme Court. The president wants to appoint as many Supreme Court justices as possible because they are appointed for life. Each judge is like an infinity stone. If you can control 5, you can change any law you like. The power of controlling the Supreme Court is how Roe versus Wade was overturned while Biden was president. Unless Biden could have rallied Congress to write a new law, the Supreme Court is just going to do the bidding of whoever appointed them. Trump appointed 3 of the 9 justices, so he only has to raise 2 justices to get whatever he wants. But the Supreme Court can rule against the president who appointed them. But let's be real, if someone hooks you up with your dream job that's super cushy for life, you're gonna do them favors. And you can do me a huge favor by stone cold stunning the like button. Trump is getting really close to ultimate power. He currently controls the House and the Senate. And if just 2 Democratic justices retire or game over from existence, Trump will have appointed 5 of the total 9 justices. Meaning the Supreme Court will be fully Trump MAGA controlled. Plus 2 old Republicans, giving the Republicans a 7-9 supermajority in the Supreme Court that would last for decades. Basically, Trump is 2 Infinity Stones away from Thanos' Infinity War level powers. If we get to a place where 5 of the 9 Supreme Court justices owe their dream job to Trump, with one phone call, Trump will be able to have almost any law he doesn't like overturned. It would be a level of presidential power we haven't seen since FDR or Abraham Lincoln. But there's a chaotic mini-boss that can stop Trump: Congress. Congress can pass legislation that contradicts or nullifies an executive order. However, the president can veto the law, requiring a 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate to override the veto, which almost never happens because Congress and the Senate can't even agree on how to pronounce GIF. But Congress can refuse to allocate money to enforce an executive order. But if the executive order doesn't need money, this tactic is not super effective. An example of an executive order that didn't require any direct funding is the Emancipation Proclamation. There was no required government spending in order to free the slaves in the Confederacy. But the ultimate player haters of executive orders are the next president, because with the stroke of a pen, they can undo all your beautiful, winning, tremendous executive orders. Donald Trump signed a total of 220 executive orders in his first term, but then Biden trashed 72 of them. But then Trump returned and undid a bunch of Biden's executive orders and signed 200 new executive orders in his first week. So basically when you hear in the news that there's a new executive order, I don't know, legalizing the purge, before you freak out, ask yourself a few questions. Is this constitutional? Will a judge strike it down? Will Congress keep doing insider trading instead of their day job? Or are you just gonna have to wait a few years until the next president undoes it? Are executive orders bad? No. They're like all forms of power. They can be used for good or they can be used for evil. You can use them to set people free or to brutally oppress them. So next time you vote, think about the kind of person you want to have this power. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so this is really simplified, but I hope it helps you understand executive orders. If you have something else you want me to explain, hit me with a comment below. And if you're still here, do me a solid and subscribe.